Mary Alice Nettebeck was born in 1944 in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and showed an early love of music. At the tender age of 5, Mary Alice appeared on a live radio program called The Bob Heiss Show on WTMJ Radio in Milwaukee.
Ball. How old are you, Mary Alice?
5.
5 years old. All right, Mary Alice Nettebeck, she's going to sing the Darktown Strutter's Ball. All set?
I'll be down to get you in a taxi, honey. Better be ready by the 8:30. Now, dearie, don't be late. Wanna get there when the band starts playing. Remember when we get there, honey? 2 steps, we're gonna have a more kind of dance, crossing my shoes when they play the Julia Blues. Tomorrow, right after that, goes Gladys Ball.
That a girl, swell, Mary Alice. Yes.
She had the great fortune to have a community music school at Alverno College, within walking distance of her house. As a high school student, she attended the National High School Music Institute at Northwestern University, where her love of choral music and art song was nurtured. She earned a Bachelor of Music Education from Indiana University, where she met Gary Stollak, an assistant professor of psychology. Gary and Mary Alice were married in Beck Chapel on the IU campus. They moved to East Lansing, and their 3 children were all born in Sparrow Hospital. Mary Alice's early years in East Lansing were spent as a mezzo-soprano. She performed with the Lansing Symphony Orchestra in Mahler and Beethoven symphonies and Handel's Messiah. She gave recitals with MSU School of Music faculty members.
40 years ago that we first heard one of her recitals, and we were less than impressed with her accompanist, but we were very impressed with her voice and her musicianship. And shortly after, I offered to accompany her for her next recital. And I must have played for 2 or 3 of her recitals, and then Tina took over.
And then I played for several, and it was always such a pleasure to play with her. She was so professional and so musical, and beautiful voice, interesting programs.
She also won a Barney Award, now called the Thespy, for her role in The Sound of Music. In 1981, she began teaching in the Hazlitt Public Schools, and over the next 10 years built a nationally recognized high school choral program. Before beginning with the Community Music School, Mary Alice was chair of the Department of Music and Art at the University of Michigan, Flint.
One of Mary Alice's strengths as a professor was her ability to spot potential. She was very much an encourager of our students, professionally and personally, but she'd also drop little nuggets into their head. Have you considered this? Have you considered that? And really encourage them to broaden their perspective. What's interesting to me is to hear testimonials now, the students that she had then, because everyone remembers her as a great mentor, great teacher.
In 1993, the Community Music School began, and with it, the MSU Children's Choir.
My name is Verna Holly, and I was the first accompanist for the children's choir. I met Mary Alice when I was teaching at Sexton. The Nelson Singers and the children's choir did some joint concerts together. I was guest accompanist with her when she was on the staff at U of M Flint. So I've worked with her for quite a while. The thing that I liked about her was I've worked with many choir directors, and I always enjoyed her style of conducting. It was very clear and very concise, and we had a rapport that was very enjoyable.
Dozens of new musical works by many different composers have been written for or commissioned by the MSU Children's Choir.
One of the most memorable performances was our premiere of Angels' Voices by John Burge at the Wharton Center, and we had a full symphony, and it was 5 movements, and it was just the most amazing work, and I think our performance turned out amazing.
Mary Alice first got in touch with me by phoning me up in my office one afternoon. In my conversation with Mary Alice, I did suggest to her that it had been some years since I'd written a piece for orchestra and equal voice choir, and that it would be great to return to that ensemble and choir size. And she thought this was a great idea and subsequently arranged a commission of a new piece. Mary Alice really took care of this piece and guided it through to its completion. And when I think of Angels' Voices, I will certainly always think of Mary Alice.
The most profound experiences I've had with her, without a doubt, were in working on Voices of a Vanished World. Discussing it, having to grapple with the subject matter, watching her deal with that, with the children, and convey not only the expressive power of music, but the power of music to touch on things that are almost too difficult to speak in words.
4th or 5th grade, I can't remember the first time we did the Marjan Helms pieces.
Oh, yeah.
And I just didn't understand what had happened, and I didn't even realize that was a particular event. So we started learning these pieces, and Mrs. Stollak explained to us what was going on during the time that this poetry was written, and it was kind of like this awakening of humanity in me, because I realized that, I mean, there were the horrible things happening, but out of it, this beautiful art